So I think what the people in the room would like to know, what are these wellness initiatives that you have in the organization that, of course, that people can adopt, but from the award and also from what you've had are so innovative and impactful, yeah, for your organizations. So I can begin with you, Dr. Mary.
Naomi, thanks for having me. Thank you for having me, Naomi, and it's a pleasure to be here with you today. So as Old Mutual, we've taken wellness from a holistic perspective, looking at this individual, what are their key needs? So we've put a human design approach to that. So we have aspects of physical wellness, where we have sports activities. We sponsor people to train at Nyayo Stadium, swimming, basketball, Zumba. We have a mental health program, where an EAP, where we have access to toll-free telecounseling services. We have also looked at financial wellness. So financial literacy is a key aspect of our wellness initiative. Lastly, we recognize that we are in the digital age, so we have actually digitized wellness. So we've built out a program, and I was really happy to hear Dr. Koech repeating the word thrive. And I think in the wellness space, that is the key. So we built out a platform called Old Mutual Thrive. So this basically allows...
Please repeat the app you have.
It's called Old Mutual Thrive.
Old Mutual Thrive.
Old Mutual Thrive. Mm-hmm. Yes. So it's not just for our staff or customers. It's open to the community. So it has solutions, assessments for physical, mental, and financial wellness. So this is not on a mobile platform. So we have managed to not only look at the holistic approach, but also automate the process so that we are able to give people data, because when you know better, you do better. So you're able to get data for yourself individually. You know where you're ailing, you know what you need to improve, you know what you're doing well, but we're also able to give our organization as Old Mutual the data of how well are we really, and where is it that we need to put specific interventions that is data-driven. So for our companies that we cover, we're able to actually create those dashboards and give them, this is your wellness score, this is what you're doing on the various parameters. So I think it's really the approach we've taken, and the reason we were awarded the IHRM awards.
Okay, before I move on to Megan, tell me, why do you focus on the physical and financial areas of wellness? Well, you know there are more than, you could categorize them into 8 areas. Yeah.
Exactly. Thanks, Naomi. That's a very important question. What was the why of what we did? We know that when we look around, there's a very high incidence of lifestyle disease. We are now global citizens, and if we look at ourselves as individuals, our everyday lives, we are increasingly more sedentary. Our work dictates that we are sitting for almost an average of 14 hours a day. In fact, I did not know that personally I sit for 15 hours until I started using the Thrive app, which now showed me my sedentary time. And data is showing that sedentation is actually going to be the highest cause of morbidity and mortality by 2030. So that is data I needed to know so that I can do something about that. So in terms of lifestyle, we are very busy. We don't have time to be in the kitchen cooking healthy things. We are not farming as much as we used to. We used to eat from farm to fork. But now it's the fast foods, KFCs, you name it. And we are now seeing this lifestyle literally causing us disease. We are seeing a lot of diabetes, we are seeing hypertension, cardiovascular disease, not only in our own organization, but even the organizations we cover, because as an insurance, we pay for these claims, and we're able to see the trends, and the trends are on the rise. So we had to address the aspect of prevention through lifestyle behavior change. So that aspect of addressing, exercise, nutrition is extremely critical in any wellness program that we developed. Now, there are 8 pillars of wellness, we know that, but there are 3 pillars of wellness that have a major impact in the quality of our lives. There is the physical, as you mentioned. There is the financial and mental. You cannot divorce one from another. You might be in the gym, eating well, you're doing great. But financially, you're not okay. You don't have the basics of, how do I even set goals? How do I budget? You're in debt. When you have financial stress, immediately your mental health is impacted. You're anxious. You're worried about tomorrow. When you're constantly anxious and under stress, that could even lead to more serious issues like depression, psychosis. So when you're mentally not okay, you're not going to eat well, you're going to maybe oversleep or even start using substances to cope. That now leads to impact on physical. So you can see how it's all interlinked. So you cannot say that you have a robust wellness program in your organization if you have not at least hit on physical, mental, and financial. Yeah, that's the reason.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you guys are downloading the Drive app. Yeah, okay. So moving on to Megan, tell us what you're doing in your organization regarding wellness.
Thank you, and I'm incredibly excited to be here from Australia, and a big shout out to Irene and Sam who've been leading this work in Kenya and who are really role models to the rest of our organisation in terms of the proactive work they've been doing in the wellbeing space, so a big shout out. In terms of wellbeing, we also have the physical and financial, and we are using the Thrive app as well, but some of our other areas that we've been focusing on, we have the free counselling services for our staff and leaders and their immediate families as well, and that's been quite popular. We've had people taking that up. We also offer free holidays to our staff, and they get 5 extra days leave to take them, so it's really encouraging people to take a break and have a fantastic time with their family and friends, and to really focus on their well-being on those holidays. So that's an incredible benefit that we all like to access. Another area we've been focusing on is conversations between our managers and staff, and last year we introduced career and wellbeing check-ins. So it's not through the normal performance discussions or cycle, it's just a completely informal conversation that our staff have with their manager. We gave them some tools and frameworks to use for those conversations to really check in on how is that person going at work, with their workload, with the team, with their career aspirations, and then what's happening in their life outside of work that we should know about. It was voluntary how much a staff member wanted to share, obviously, but we've had incredible feedback about those sessions. They were really simple. A lot of our managers were nervous to have those conversations, but I think it proved to be incredibly valuable in terms of what we learnt from our employees and what we've been able to action from those. And we also saw in our employee engagement survey that where they had those conversations, engagement scores were way higher than other areas where the conversations weren't held. So a simple conversation, it was just an hour, made a massive difference to our employee engagement and wellbeing, and we're just rolling those out again now this year. So that's been a huge piece for us. And probably another area we focused on is flexible work. So we have a really flexible work environment to support our employees' wellbeing. We have, part-time, we have hybrid working, we have people adjusting their start and finish times to suit their lifestyles, whether that's because they've got caring responsibilities, study, whatever it may be. We're quite flexible, and we are a global organisation, so we do have meetings at strange times of the day and night, but we really encourage our employees to balance their workload. So I think that's probably some of the areas that have made the biggest difference for us, as well as that focus on the physical health and the financial well-being as well.
Okay, interesting. I'm hearing you talking about flexible work, but what has caught my attention is this thing of informal conversations, really checking in to see how the employees are doing. Yeah, so that's interesting because I'm sure the employees feel heard and seen. Yeah, it's not just about performance. Okay, interesting. So Grace, tell us, in Strathmore, I would like you to begin by talking about the disease prevention program that we have. Yes, you can begin from there.
Okay. Thank you so much, and welcome once again to Strathmore on Day 2. So the disease prevention program is our newest wellness program, our newest baby, and it is a program that was derived from, let's say, like benchmarking to other countries. And the first country that birthed this program is post-COVID. Post-COVID, the Ministry of Health in Kenya and other Ministry of Health in other countries in Africa, we collaborated together and we were asking ourselves a question. So what is going to happen to us in case another COVID comes? The lessons that we learned during COVID, the initiatives that we put in place during COVID, how are we doing today? You see all those metrics you had on the gate to make sure that you sanitized your hands. Everybody had a sanitizer on their table. Do we still have these sanitizers? Are we still walking around with masks? Are we still maintaining that social distance? So what is going to happen to us and our people in our organizations and even at a personal level in case COVID comes again? Are we prepared for COVID? Are we prepared for another pandemic? That is where the question was coming from. And a lot of abstracts and a lot of papers were shared just to see how different countries behaved during COVID. Is there something that was innovated that is out of the pharmaceuticals that could help us to support our populations in case we encounter ourselves in a situation when we experience another pandemic? And then we had another exposure in Singapore. And what we discovered in Singapore is that looking at the way Singapore was affected by COVID and the way Africa and other countries was affected by COVID, there's a very big difference. The difference comes in whereby the populations that are affected by COVID in a country like Singapore are very insignificant. And we looked at the behavior and the lifestyle of people in COVID and even looking at the overall life expectancy. In our nation, our life expectancy is 54 years. So what data is telling us that on average, we die at 54 years as Kenyans. But in Singapore, on average, they die at 84 years. So we came back and started asking ourselves questions and saying, at a personal space, at an organizational space, what is this thing that we can do to at least boost the life expectancy of our people? Because we have to start somewhere. And now we put and combined all these initiatives together to create a disease prevention program. So the disease prevention program is composed of 3 things. The first thing is nutrition, and the second thing is fitness, and the third thing now is a prolonged lifestyle of fitness. So this is how we have planned the program. So once you enter the program, it's mandatory for you to go through nutritional assessment. We have an in-body machine that is able to analyze. Those who have interacted with the in-body machine, you understand, it's able to analyze all these components. And then from that, the nutritionist can either refer you to a doctor based on how your results are looking like, or they can also refer you to a fitness assessment. So for fitness assessment, the person is able to check whether you're able to engage in exercise. Are you able to do all those things? It's like almost to prepare you to come up with a fitness program. And also for the nutritionist, you're given a nutrition program. And then after that, we engage you we enrolled the staff into a gym. We collaborated with a gym. The management was overwhelmingly supportive because the gym is being paid from our medical fund. The staff is not paying anything from their pocket for the nutrition, for fitness, and also even for the gym. We started this year, so we started with 3 months. The program is 12 weeks. We've been monitoring. The first cohort, we got 55 staff join, and within those 3 months, because of our culture, because of our behavior, we found that some left, but others continued. But the most amazing thing is that as we were analyzing the data, we found that 50% of the people were committed 75% of the time. And also the management was very supportive because they have given us transport to take our staff to the gym during the lunch hour. So they leave the university at 12, the gym is not very far away, and then they are back in the office by 2 p.m. So we found 3 days in a week, and then you can also go to the gym any other time that you want. So we discovered that 50% of the people who joined, they were able to do 75% of the 3 days that the university is offering transport. So for us to enhance commitment, when we came now to cohort 2, we communicated to the staff that the people coming from cohort 1 to join cohort 2 are the only one who were active at least 75% of the time. So this is what we have been able to see. Cohort 2 is now 1 month over. We have enrolled 95 people in cohort 2. And now we have over 55% from cohort 1 who joined. So we are having 100 and something people in this program. And it is the uptake of the gym and the uptake of commitment is also very positive. From now we have, the people are already aware, if you commit 75%, the next cohort, the university will still pay for you the gym using the medical fund. And we have been able to see a bigger number in cohort 2 attending the gym compared to cohort 1. So our main motive with this program is to just bring this thing naturally, that you have to take responsibility of developing a lifestyle that is going to put you in a position where you strengthen your immunity by not medication, by what you eat and how active you are with whatever you do. We have found people now, as we talk about generations, we have found people in a certain generation that do not want to go to the gym, probably maybe because of where their lives are. You have to drop children to school in the morning. During when people are going to the gym, on that lunch hour, you're having meetings. In the evening, you have again to go and rush and do homework with children, people who are not able to commit to the gym or to go to the gym. So the fitness assessment team normally work one-on-one on them to send those fitness schedules and even exercises on that WhatsApp that they have, so that we can be able to accommodate everyone. So we are saying, if Strathmore is doing this, and if our people take it up with a lot of seriousness, what we have seen is that we might use that money from the medical fund to pay for your gym and for your nutritional visits, but we are not going to use it to pay for your hypertension and diabetes medication, which is even more expensive. So if we are doing this as an institution and we are able to appreciate the positive outcomes that we have been able to see from the staff and the testimonies from the staff, what if this is adopted in company 2, company 3, and all over Kenya? Maybe in another 10 years to come, we will find that our life expectancy have moved from 54, maybe to 64, and one day we are going to find ourselves to 84, where Kenya, Singapore, and Japan are. So that is to why we started this disease prevention program. Yeah, and it has been successful.
Wow, thank you very much, Grace. Feel free to come and benchmark with Strathmore. If you'd like to adopt this, feel free to benchmark to ask All Mutual if they can get you onto their Drive app. Yeah, so, but picking up from what you said, many times you hear from HR professionals say, oh, we don't have the money to do this. Grace has explained how we've done it in Strathmore. I would like to hear from Megan and Grace. How do you negotiate with management to support these kinds of initiatives? Yeah.
It's tricky sometimes. I think for us, one of the biggest successes we've had is that career and wellbeing check-in, and that didn't cost any money. So I think sometimes you can do a lot more than you think with the resources you've already got. The other piece for us is, if thinking more about that prevention piece, as you were just saying, is if we can get people's well-being higher, whether that's their physical well-being, their mental well-being, their emotional well-being, whatever that may be, they're going to have less absenteeism, they're going to be higher performers. So it's really linking it back to the business case and being at the business, being able to see those benefits from that well-being to the bottom line. That's often what you have to do to get that budget as well. But I think challenge ourselves to think about what we can do that doesn't actually cost a lot of money, like the Thrive app, like those kind of informal conversations can actually make a huge difference.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, do free things. There are things you can do for free,
Yeah.
and then link them to business objectives, yeah? Okay, Mary, anything you'd like to comment?
Yeah, Megan, and I think you're completely correct. I think what's important to get leadership buy-in is what's the ROI. I think we know, right from board level to group executive level, data, numbers. And it's very possible that wellness can show numbers even to the board level. And that's why we were saying getting data about the shift, what is the current baseline? I think most organizations today, if I was to ask you, do you have a view or a score of how well your organization is today? You will struggle to answer me. Why? Because you don't have the data. So giving these solutions or applications that is able to collate individual data, aggregate it to an organizational level is going to help and actually give the executive the data they need. Right from the baseline, this is where we are starting, but over time, this is where we are moving towards. So an application like Mutual Thrive is able to, as I mentioned, to give a corporate a dashboard on various parameters. On the physical wellness, this is where we are. On mental health, as an aggregate, let me use Mutual as an example. We're able to tell our board on mental health, this is where we are. We are good, we are fair, we are poor. On financial wellness, because you do individual assessments, and based on various parameters, are you in debt? How much are you earning? Are you investing? Do you have solutions? And it gives you a score. So it will aggregate everybody's data and give a general view. So because of the interventions we are putting in place, we're able to say we moved from a Thrive score of 60. In fact, practically we were at 60 when we started. And a score of 60 is actually poor. What that tells our HR in Crote is that her organization is at a high risk of chronic disease. We need to move to 70. 70 is a good score, 70 to 80. Over 80, you're excellent, which means your chances of developing hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular disease is going down. So she's able to now track week on week, month on month, that we started at 60, now we are at 65. We need to get to 70. That's very important.
My Thrive score has been since I downloaded the app. Yeah. Okay. But it's going up every day.
Good.
Okay. So thank you very much. So Grace, I coming back to you. I know we've talked about physical, emotional, and financial wellness, but in Strathmore we are also much about other areas of wellness, especially social and spiritual. Could you speak to this?
Thank you, May. So in Strathmore, we have also looked at these two dimensions of wellness, the social dimension of wellness and also the spiritual dimension of wellness. So on the social dimension of wellness, we have a department that is called chaplaincy. So what happens in chaplaincy is just like the way in HR we have a business partner attached to every department, we also have a chaplaincy attached to every department and every school. So their main purpose is to make sure that they support the people who are in need of spiritual support. That support is available. We will all agree that we all depend on a higher power. Whoever you believe in or whatever religion you're in, all of us, there is that higher power that we depend on. So we have acknowledged that and we have made that provision available for our staff. We also have chapels in the university for those who would want to attend to masses. We normally have 2 masses in the morning and also during that hour of lunchtime. And this is 100% voluntary. No one is forced to go to mass, no one is forced to see the chaplaincy, but we have provided that to make sure that in case you are in need of a spiritual support, it is available. We also have podcasts where the chaplaincy normally give these conversations based on the data that they are collecting every day as they interact with the people in the university. This is open to the staff and is also open to the students and even to the dependents of the staff, and also the parents and the people who support our students. Also, we normally encourage departments to try and invite the chaplaincies in their departments to have these conversations. One of our values, and even some of the things that we look at in the university, is sanctification of work. Sanctification of work is whereby by the time you're serving someone, assume that there is an intermediary of let's say, for example, of God, or somebody that you highly hold in high regard. By the time you're giving the service to this person, would you give the same service to this person that you value so much, or to God? So what that means is you're giving out your work in a way that you know service to man is service to God. So how do we have conversations to encourage our staff to know that there are areas of work, there are also areas of purpose, and also like an area of ministry. You don't have to stand in the pulpit for you to feel like you're serving God. Even where you are, you're still giving that service to God. And then also we have the social dimension of wellness. There is a lot of things that the university has done, and I think the highest, the topmost that I can say is that we have a social space that is called Burudani. So Burudani is a space where we have, it's like a sitting room of your house where you can sit down and have conversations and watch TV. And we have many activities that happens in Burudani. One of the activities is we normally have karaoke evenings where we can say tonight this evening we are going to be doing karaoke on this genre of music or something like that. And people meet, they sing and they enjoy and they are happy. We have also created tribes in the university, and at the moment we have 5 tribes. We have a young moms tribe, those who have just had babies, where they meet and they discuss about the dynamism of being a new mom. We also have a tribe of young dads, the dads who have just, they are almost going to paternity, or they have just come from paternity. First-time dads, they are discussing on how to do this thing called fatherhood. We also have a tribe of neurodivergent parents. These are parents who have children who have development challenges like cerebral palsy, children with maybe ADHD, all these things that have recently emerged, so that the parents can support each other. We also have a tribe, or we call it redefining something like making you feel young again. And this is to the ladies who are approaching menopause or who are already on menopause. And even for men, we call it andropause, the men who feel like they are approaching andropause. So we have created this social setting where you will discuss on whether you're feeling hot, your head is burning, or what have you been doing, and all these things. So we have tried to accommodate these social tribes, these groups, and just give people a space to interact and to say what they feel about. We have also discovered that the other dimensions of wellness that are not directly under social, but they have really supported that social aspect. Like, for example, on intellectual wellness, where we have a book club, where guys meet every Tuesday in the morning, somebody explains a book, and people are given an opportunity to ask questions, and then once in a while they have breakfast in Burudani again, and just encourage each other on how it is good for us to just make that culture of reading a book and discussing it with other people as a good culture. We have also tried to accommodate even the housekeeping department and even the catering department in this component of social dimension. under the physical wellness, where we have created Zumba classes for them, we have created stretching classes, and the beauty of this is because they work in shifts, we have been able to accommodate all of them depending on the shifts that they have. So you will find there is a stretch class during lunch hour for those who came in early in the morning and they are leaving their shifts at lunch hour, and there's another one at 4 for those who are leaving their rotas are releasing them off work.
The program for family development, could you speak to that?
Yeah, I had forgotten about that. So in the Strathmore Business School, we have a very beautiful program of family wellness. So this is what happens in that program. We have created, it's both for staff and even for the public, where we train people on how to, the first thing is those who are planning to get married. We have a class that does trainings for the people who want to get married, and then we graduate from that to those who have already entered marriage, 0 to 3 years. And then from there we graduate from 3 years and above. We have classes for that. And then we also have classes for parents, young parents. From a child of 0 to 3 years, how do you deal with terrific 2? We stopped calling it terrible 2, it's terrific 2. And then from 4 years and above, how do you deal with the preteens? We have even gone ahead to where we are training grandparents who are taking care of teenagers. So how do you navigate this life where you are a grandparent, you love your children, you don't know how to deal with Gen Zs, it's sounding like gibberish, and I need to have and enjoy it with my teenagers, so we are also even training grandparents to take care of their grandchildren. And also we have a program curated for teens. It's called a Maisha program. Teens from 12 years going up to 20 years, where you would want to bring your child in a place where there is a positive connect, where they can also interact with other young people and discuss on how life is going, how the changes of their body, the changes of the environment, and just have that support and be trained by professionals on how to be young adults who are confident to interact with this world that is evolving so dramatically. So those are some of the programs that we have under the family front. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Megan and Mary, anything to add on the social or any other aspect of wellness before we take questions?
I have to say those programs sound amazing. I need the one for the hot. But I think another area that we've focused on is giving back, so that meaning from work. So it's a big focus for us at Intrepid. We offer our staff 20 hours volunteering leave a year, so they can go and volunteer with an organisation that means something to them, or often we do it in the team together. So there's that social element that we bring into that with the meaning that comes in. And we have a philanthropic foundation at Intrepid, so there's fundraising that our team do, there's different challenges that we do to give back to the local community, and we found that a huge benefit for people's well-being as well.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that is important is that you can start where you are. You know, something as simple as just setting up a steps challenge in the office is going to bring that sense of community, you know, and encouragement to everyone. The aspect of putting champions in place, like wellness champions, where they're able to encourage each other in their own departments to do something for their well-being, whether it's physically, mentally, and also financially. So the aspect of just put someone who is responsible, a brother's keeper within the department, to be able to make this thing continuous, consistent. So just start where you are, the basics, you can do it, and set a challenge for physical, change it to mental, you know, let us all journal and put our gratitudes in. It's still an activity. Then on financial, let's all open a money market, put in a small amount and challenge each other. Did you put in your money? Before you know it, it's a habit you've started of saving, and you're putting people on their wellness journey financially.
Wonderful. Don't you think these are great initiatives? Okay, let's appreciate them. Okay, I think we can take 3 questions now. Any questions so far?
Digital fatigue. I know right now with They focus on, being able to work in co-located places. There's the risk of people getting burnt out and mentally fatigued from constantly being on screens, on calls and whatnot. How can we, as people champions in our organizations, sort of challenge each other, as well as management and our cultures, to integrate that kind of balance? It's for my first question. My second question is on, one-size-fits-all kind of approach to wellness. We are talking about intergenerational experiences at work, and what would count for sort of wellness for a Gen X may be different for a millennial and a Gen Z. How are we also sort of structuring wellness programs to cater to the different generational needs? Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take 2 more, and then we will answer.
My question is almost related to what she has said. I'm Peter Gitonyo, I work for the Central Bank. Mine is, I'm concerned, of course, as the different teams who are talking, they seem to be doing different initiatives. So my question is, what are some of the key considerations which informs the choice of whatever initiative you need to pick? Because that's important, of course, besides funding and those kind of things, are there peculiarities within the organization which perhaps informs that? The other bit, I'm speaking to the line managers and those who are supervising people, and then I'm lacking words here, but let me put something in context. You have somebody, maybe a difficult staff or whatever, issues within the, how do you connect those kind of cases to the appropriate wellness program, or what should the supervisors do? Because sometimes you could be having a mental case and you think it's just a difficult case person or something like that. So how do we, how are we able to ensure that we're able to deal with this in a more effective way? When you notice that, do you brand somebody as a difficult person, or do you, because for example, if somebody is mad, they can never admit that they are mad, for example, So how do you deal with that kind of a situation? Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take from that table. Wow, there are so many. Let's give another table a chance. The lady over there.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Fatuma from Uganda. My question is about uptake, because organizations have all these, good initiatives. You have programs for people to use to help them with mental health. But there's an issue of uptake, especially when it comes to seeking support on mental well-being, and especially for the gentlemen. I'm wondering how you push that, because from where I'm sitting and what you're saying, it looks like the uptake, for example, in Strathmore is really good, but we are struggling with that. I think it also comes from the culture aspect of it. Who do you talk to and stuff? So just how do you go about it to push people to be able to utilize the services available?
That's a very good question, yeah? I think uptake is a problem, and maybe we can begin there. So, on mutual, how do you encourage uptake?
Okay, thanks for that. Absolutely a really important question. Number one, it's about making sure that whatever intervention, as I mentioned, is human-centered. What does human-centered design mean? It means that in this program needs to speak to individual needs. So don't put blanket, as someone said, one size fits all. You first have to start by assessing what is the baseline, what is it that people actually need. Do a needs assessment also for wellness, and there are various ways of doing it. From the physical wellness perspective, do your screenings. You can do a fitness assessment, you can do a clinical assessment. From a mental health and financial perspective, understand what are the individual unique needs, then curate a program. So don't just go out there, ChatGPT, corporate wellness program. Then you implement. They will be poor, uptake because it's not serving to specific needs that are tailored to your organization. So that's the first thing. Number two, implement behavioral economics as well. Understand why do people make the decisions that they do and what will incentivize them to do more. So things like rewards, instant gratification, that is behavioral economics. So how are you factoring in that into the program? You've understood the need, you're serving it, but how are you rewarding and making people feel appreciated for actually doing it? So recognize people, reward them. Number two, also it's monkey see, monkey do. People will watch what are leaders doing. If the leaders are not participating in wellness, why do we expect the staff to follow suit? So programs that are successful are having leaders leading from the front. So if you're going to train in Nyayo Stadium like we do, our MD, Japheth, he wins us. The guy is doing laps and we're like, oh, okay. And we follow suit. So literally involve your leaders. If your leaders are not participating in wellness, number one, as a business strategic priority, from a funding perspective, but also a participation perspective, there'll be poor engagement.
Thank you, Megan. Any comment? And I'd also like you to comment on the question from the gentleman from Central Bank. What happens, performance, mental issues, and connecting it to wellness?
I just really support those points about getting people to engage. So I think it's, with our volunteering, we make it competitive. Which office has done more? We report on it. People love being the winner on that leaderboard, and definitely role modelling at that senior leader level. So with our career and wellbeing check-ins, our CEO held them with his direct reports, and he spoke about that with all of our staff. He said he was uncomfortable, he was nervous to do them, but he found them incredibly valuable. So I think really being honest about, sometimes these conversations are difficult, but they're worthwhile. In terms of where we have staff who are in distress, or we identify they're in distress, we're doing some work on this. I wouldn't say we're great at it at the moment. So it's really equipping our managers to have those conversations so they feel confident to ask someone, are you okay? And if they're not okay, knowing where to refer them, because our managers aren't psychologists, they're not doctors. We don't want them to step into that space. So it's having an open conversation. The wellbeing check-ins, we did have people raising with us that they weren't coping, whether that was at home, at work, in their relationships, whatever that was. So then we referred them to our employee assistance program, or connected them with our people team to see what we could do to help them, in the longer term. So those conversations were incredibly valuable for us learning more about our employees and being able to be more proactive to help them manage their wellbeing.
Okay, then Grace, if you could tell us how do you determine the kind of program to implement? Because it's true, one size does not fit all. So what made you, or what in Strathmore, how do they choose the kind of programs to implement?
I would say that we practically depend on the data that we collect. And the data we collect is through the interactions that we are having with our staff. If I could just narrow down to the medical center, we have the clinical data that we collect every month. So you're able to look at the clinical data and see what are our top diagnoses. So from the top diagnosis, you can be able to have a conversation and see what are the people, what is the data telling us what the people need. Also from a human resource perspective, through the business partners, they are also able to collect the information and gather and analyze and see this is what we need. Like for example, the issue of the neurodivergent tribe, how it came about is because from a human resource perspective, they discovered that many parents or many staff are coming into the human resource and saying, this burden is becoming so much. Yes, you've given us a cover, but because the child has to be taken to clinic to see a speech therapist, an occupational therapist, and sometimes a nutritionist thrice a week, it's becoming a heavy burden on us. So is there anything you can do, guys, and just support us, maybe by topping up our insurances or the medical fund. So if you get such a request, 1, 2, 3, you discover that we are having a tribe or we are having an emerging need that needs to be supported. Also, you find that now from the head of departments level, with now the generation that is coming up from the Gen Zs who are now starting to bring in families, or the late millennials that are entering into families, you find that with all the challenges around, there is more need to support and even to mentor the young mothers and the young dads. So having conversations with the staff and just creating a program out of those conversations from the data that you're collecting. Yeah, so I would say entirely data is what has been driving the decisions that we make even now starting the programs. And now with that, you are not forcing anything. You're just responding to an already existing need. Yeah.
Okay, that's very good. So it takes a lot of vulnerability from staff to say what's going on, and willing leaders who are willing to listen and do something about it. Okay, so the other question was on digital fatigue. So how do you overcome digital fatigue? Any of you can take it as a QR presentation that I have.
Okay, thanks for that question. It's very true. I think, first of all, let's also acknowledge and be honest and say that these digital apps, TikTok, Instagram, we were just talking about it today with Megan. Number one, it can be an addiction if it's not already. That dopamine hit you get by just, scrolling, it can really take time away from things that are very important. We talked about sedentary time. You need to be able to literally make sure that your wellness programs are a mix of things that you can do digitally, but most importantly, get your people out there. Get them out in the sun. By the way, guys, I'm sure when you've done your annual wellness screening, and please screen your people, it's very important. Majority of you will have a low vitamin D because you're not in the sun. You're in the office most of the time. Vitamin D is extremely important for your metabolism, for your immunity, for concentration, memory. So you really need to put interventions in place that you get people out there. So for me, digital fatigue, number one, address this addiction thing of constantly putting people in front of tablets, mobiles, get programs that make people mingle, social, and get people physically active in the sun. I think that's what I'd say to that.
Okay, so one of the initiatives that we have done here in the university, through collaboration with the ICT department, we've set up our computers in a way that after every 1 hour, the screen goes green, and it tells you to stand up, stretch, and take water. Yeah, so we encourage people. So it's not easy, because the first thing you will do, you will get so angry because you're in the middle of typing something, and you would want to rush that 1 minute, but at least there is something that is reminding you on how to wake up and just do something and change. We also have, we were going around with the eye clinic department and training our staff on how to help your eyes to relax. So there is this rule of after every 20 minutes, you close your eyes, you open your eyes, you close your eyes, you open your eyes. So just trying to bring these conversations from the medical space to the office space for you to have that information at the back of your mind. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that it's very interesting, the things they do. The thing is, that thing is very annoying. At times you snooze it, yeah? But at least there was a distraction, yeah? So thank you very much. There's much more we can talk about, including ergonomics, yeah, the kind of chairs you sit on, the kind of desk you have, and all this. But I think we are running out of time, and I really wanted to show you this because I'm sure you have questions in your mind. What can you do? You may not have money to do the disease prevention program, but from a HR perspective, are there things that you could consider and implement without it costing too much money? So the University of Oxford has our Center for Wellness, and they are very interested in wellness from an organizational perspective, let's say from a HR perspective. So I borrowed their questionnaires, this survey, and I ran it among a few of my friends, people, even some of you answered this survey. It's not scientific by any way, so all the academicians here, please do not grill me on the validity and reliability of the study. It's just anecdotal, yeah? Because my respondents were only 100, yeah? So I'll go through it very fast. So you can see more females, 2/3 of the population were female. These are the age groups, yeah? You can see most of them were Gen X's. Gen Ys and Gen X's, yeah, a bit of millennials, Gen Z's. Then these are the industries they came from. And I also asked, what is their mode of work, yeah? Like 49% of the population always works from an office. Then I was very happy to see 40% of the people are doing hybrid. What does this mean? Some days they work away from the office. And then I had 11% of the respondents saying they work remotely. Yeah, this was it. This is how they work. Then these are the positions and the number of years in the organization. So I am going to go to this. So the Oxford University, this wellness center uses feelings and how you are feeling to measure wellness. And they have 4 questions. How stressed did you feel at work during the past week? How happy, happiness, how happy did you feel? How satisfied are you with your job? And did you find meaning in your work? So for the first question on stress, the lower the score, the better. Because if you said, I didn't feel stressed at all. Yeah, but for the other 3 questions, the higher the score, the better. So you can see for most of my respondents, they scored meaning at work highest, yeah, because the score was 4. But basically we can say more or less the scores were on average, the others, because even when you look at stress, it was at 2.75. And when I analyzed the data further, I found that the Gen Zs had the highest level of stress among the categories I surveyed, yeah. Then Gen Ys had the lowest level of happiness among the 4 categories of people. Meaningful work, they had also the lowest scores, and job satisfaction. So I don't know what is going on with Gen Ys there, so we could find out more. And then when I compared the mode of work and these wellness indicators, people who are always in the office had the highest level of stress, yeah? The people who are working away always, remote, they don't have stress, yeah? They are happy about it, yeah? And then also people who are always in the office have the lowest levels of happiness job satisfaction and meaning at work. Yeah, is when you compare the three groups. Yeah, as I said, this is not scientific, it is just anecdotal, but it can tell us something. Yeah, I don't know whether you agree or not. Let's see. Yeah, then moving on. So this survey says, as HR professionals, or the people who have designed these studies, they say there are certain drivers within the organizations that can lead to wellness. And these are things that we know, yeah, as HR people, yeah, health and safety, yeah, independence at work and flexible work, task variety and fulfillment at work, fair pay and compensation, positive relationships and a sense of belonging, opportunities for career development and job security. And this, you just score them on a scale of 1 to 5. Yeah, so from a survey, opportunities for career development and job security were the things people value most in an organization. Yeah. Then the second one was positive relationships within the organization. Compensation and pay came in third. Yeah. This was surprising to me because I thought in the country we are in, the economy we are in, it could be the first thing. Yeah, but anyway. And then the one with the lowest score was health and safety, yeah, in the workplace. So this could mean maybe my respondents work in organizations whereby health and safety, no, not manufacturing sector, which was true. I had a very small number of respondents from manufacturing. So maybe health and safety is not something always in their mind. Or maybe the organizations are doing very well in health and safety, I don't know. But when I look at this, I looked at these drivers by age group, yeah? The older folks, the Gen X's, yeah, they appreciate this having positive relationships and a strong sense of belonging in organization. This is what creates wellness for them, or is the driver for wellness. Well, for the younger age groups, especially Gen Z, you can see compensation matters. Yeah? So this, for me, could be understood because Gen Zs are just coming to the workforce, isn't it? Their salaries are not as high as the Gen Xs, isn't it? Yeah, so for them that matters. And then when I looked at the mode of work, yeah, the thing that drives wellness for remote employees, yeah, you could see value in the work. They value task variety, independence, and flexibility. Yeah, once again, this made sense because why would you choose a remote job? Yeah, it's because you want this flexibility, isn't it? Independence, yeah. But those who are in offices, who work in an office all the time, they valued health and safety measures as a driver for wellness, yeah? Okay, so I don't know what you think, but I encourage you to, I'll give you the link for this survey, and it's free. You can run it with the organization and use that data to improve wellness. And as you can see, these are things we can do as HR people. Then I asked the respondents, what are some of the things you'd like HR people to focus on? Wellness and mental health, yeah? So employees want support for these programs, and also there was a lot of saying they should use data. Yeah, HR should use data to make decisions on wellness and other decisions that they make in the organization. Then compensation and benefits was another one. Then leadership and engagement. So you could see personalized engagement. Listen to the people in the ground. Listen per ground, yeah? Just don't make decisions without hearing what your employees want, yeah? So as I said, I don't know what you'll take away from this, but this is the University of Oxford Wellbeing Research Center. If you go to their website, you will get everything, including this video, and they have a playbook that includes ideas on how you can implement these interventions in your organization. And then this is just a video that they explain how they came up with these drivers for interventions and measuring wellness. Okay, so with that, I think we come to the end of the... Would you like to comment on this? Anyone would like to comment on this?
I could comment, Naomi. I think it's very relevant, and you can already see data coming across as a huge priority in wellness. So I would encourage all of us to go back to our organizations and really check, do you have data for wellness in any shape or form? And if you don't, just start putting those interventions in place to get that, whether it's through surveys, through applications, but just have data-driven decisions on wellness. Mental health, you can see, is a key thing. So employee assistant programs are things that we should really all be thinking about. How do I have it? What is available in the market? And just seek for advice. Please don't be afraid to reach out. I'll leave my details with Naomi. If you need any advice about data, about EAPs, don't hesitate. Just reach out for support.
Okay, Megan, any last words?
I think, if anything, it's just going to get more important. I think particularly because our Gen Zs are asking for even more than we've ever provided. So this should be a huge focus area for us as human resources professionals.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Grace?
I think for me it's just an encouragement to all of us, especially those who are privileged to be sitting in levels of leadership. We are being called out to being more creative. Even as we interact with the data, there is that part of creativity that is really needed in our spaces right now because of the dynamism of the age groups that we have and also what we are experiencing even in our environment. Other than that, I would like to also give us a hack that has really worked for us where the wellness, mental health is concerned. Based now on the data that we collect, we were able to come up with one way to respond to mental health in Strathmore, and we found that having a psychologist, whether in-house or outside the institution, is not enough, because you find that there are two components where mental health is concerned. There is the patient, or there is the education part of mental health, and there is also now the part of responding to these needs that are coming up, where you have staff who are having mental issues coming up. So it is important for us to embrace the two, where you have a trained psychologist who specifically addresses the education part of mental health, and there is another part that specifically now responds to the needs that are coming from the staff who needs to be supported on mental health. So what that does, it creates a sense of trust with the people, because I will be the psychologist that is taking care of your people, and maybe I'm also the one who is responding on that part of education. So I'm not able to speak about an issue, even if it's generally to the population, and I saw you yesterday, and probably that is the same issue we were discussing about, because it is a very sensitive space. So you find that they shy away from getting help from your in-house psychologist, because they think that when they were having that conversation they were targeting the issue that you were discussing the other day. So issues of confidentiality and trust, where we separate the two, we have that space of mental health education and also mental health support from a medical perspective. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure there are questions, but I would really beg that we ask them during tea. Is that okay? Yes, but feel free to reach out. As Strathmore, I know we are always happy to benchmark. So feel free, reach out to even the person who invited you for the summit from Strathmore, and we'll get you to Grace. Thank you.